Okay, welcome to the Living Alchemy class. Today, we are going to be talking about wisdom and how to access our wisdom. And I know most of you here in this group are very interested in finding that capacity inside of you to be guided, to finding that inner compass to help guide you through life situations. And so I wanted to speak to that and also do an attunement today specifically on that. And I have my daughter's little crystal ball here, and I often teach her how to find her wisdom. And of course, we do it very metaphorically. But this to me, this crystal ball represents the ability of having all of the wisdom from all time and being able to see what the next step is for us. We're typically wanting to know what to do, what the future holds, right? We have a crystal ball inside of us, and it's accessed through our heart center. And when I work with my daughter, we use this as a metaphor, but I'm always directing her into her breath, into her body, and then she'll look and see what she sees. And I use it as a way of helping her find that discernment. So I'm not going to have you guys look into a crystal ball today, but I do want to bring that metaphor there. And if you have a crystal ball, you can use it if you want. But the point is that we all have access to that magical knowing. And we know this to be true through science. So it's not all woo-woo here. With the HeartMath Institute, I've told you guys about this before. The HeartMath Institute has done a lot of research on foresight, on knowingness of our heart. And they have some amazing studies where the heart knows what is coming before we see it in person. And that's just amazing. And you can read these studies. The way they were done is they would show an image of something really scary or something really calm. And they were random images, and the participant would be sitting there at the computer, and an image would flash on the screen that was either scary or calm. But the cool thing is they were monitoring the brain and the body, and the heart knew what image was coming before it even flashed on the screen. And how do you explain that? How do we explain that? And we know that we have a capacity for knowing that's within us. It's one aspect of our consciousness that we've barely tapped into because we're so stuck in time-space reality because of the way our brain works. But our heart is in the 0 point field, which means it's in past, present, and future all at the same time. So I wanted to, first of all, start the class with having you guys ponder what in your life do you wish you had wisdom about? What is something that you wish you could look into this crystal ball and know how it's going to turn out so that you know what the next step is? And take a moment, and what is it that you wish you could, have that magical insight of what to do, how to respond, what that might be. I know for some of us, it's how do we heal our body? What does our body need? Some of us, it's dealing with relationship issues. And some of us, maybe like my partner, Aaron, he wants to know what cryptocurrency to invest in. That's it. So regardless, there is a wisdom there that is accessible. And in all of those categories, some people just seem to have a knack of knowing exactly what to do, exactly how to respond, exactly how to invest even. And I believe that their heart field is tapped into their future possibilities. And so if you have an idea, I'd love for you to type in the chat box what the wisdom is that you're seeking, just to kind of prompt others if you're willing to share. And know that it's possible for your heart to guide you, but the deal is that our brain gets in the way, because our brain, our consciousness is attuned to certain potentials based on the past. Our brain, our ability to like have foresight through our brain is very limited, because it's limited to memory structures. It's limited to what we expect. Our heart is completely unlimited. Okay. So I have a couple slides that I wanted to share to just give an overview of just what we're going to talk about, so that you guys can conceptually see this. Hold on. Just give me a moment to find my, whoops. Hold on. My share screen working here. Okay. All right. So wisdom discovery. That's what we're doing today. So where our wisdom comes, here's some of my thoughts about this. Our wisdom comes from our past, which is hindsight, right? Hindsight. Oh, in hindsight, I would have done this. In hindsight, I would have done that, based on our past, based on our learning. Now, in order to get in touch with hindsight, we've got an issue. And that issue is that we must resolve our memory structures that have charged emotions and protection blocks in order to access the wisdom of the past. Because typically our past is clouded by our emotional perceptions of the time. And when emotions, highly charged emotions, are embedded in the memory structures, there are protection strategies in our limbic system and brainstem that keep us from accessing the wisdom of our past. So the first thing we'll talk about today is accessing our knowing from the past through neutralizing the charge, the emotional charge around the memory structure. Next is the present, which I would call insight. Insight. In order to access insight in the present moment, we must be somatically present in our body, in a state of what we learn in the Primal Trust mentorship as divine neutrality, or the 0 point field, in order to access present moment body insight. And then we have our future, which is foresight. And foresight is the discernment of the difference between the brain forecasting. Now, there's a difference in that word there. The brain's forecasting, which is a thinking-based perception, versus the heart's quantum knowing that is outside of time and space. So foresight, I believe, comes through the heart, and forecasting comes through the brain. And then what we're going to do today, after we're going to have a little discussion about this, and then we're going to have an attunement. And in the attunement, we're going to work on a few things here. And I'll go over this again right before we get going. We are going to learn how to access the wisdom of the past, okay, through neutralizing our memories, rewriting protective neural pathways, releasing part-time personality, identities that are embedded in our memory structure. Some of us have ways of behaving, and it's because our identity is stuck in the past, and we aren't able to access the wisdom because we're stuck feeling all the emotions. So we need to help those part-time identity structures come up to the present moment, join us in our adult mean personality in this present moment. And we do that through neutralizing the emotions around that memory structure. We're going to work on accessing the wisdom of the future by bypassing our brain's forecasting and thinking, which is also kind of a habitual part-time personality pattern that keeps us from blocking new possibilities. We tend to think and forecast the possibilities based on what parts of us think is possible. And instead, we access the wisdom of the future through dropping into the heart's intelligence that is outside of time and space. Okay. And then lastly, in the attunement, we're going to merge our past and our future wisdom into the present moment. And we do that by having the emotional charge of the past resolved. We get out of our forecasting, thinking of the future of the brain, and instead we're just in this present moment, that 0 point field of all possibilities. And that's how we access our insight and realize the epiphany of what is to be done about our current situation.